Are y'all able to see our PowerPoint now?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. Thank you. So I'm April Akins, and along with me, I have Melissa Dukes, and then I don't know if you guys are going to see all three of us, and then Michelle, which you probably are very familiar with at this point.
Hi.
I'll spread it things. Say Michelle. We thought we'd do a group effort here. There's Melissa. So what we're just going to kind of give you guys an overview of what we're doing for the APR cohort 5 is who we're specifically working with. But we thought it's a good idea for you guys to have a awareness of what's happening and what's coming up for you if you're in the next cohort or in the next couple of years as you start preparing your projects. Those of you that are in cohort 5, we will be following up after this email of what our next steps are going to look like. We've already started having some meetings with the smaller groups. So this brief presentation is going to talk about expectations, the process and how it looks, what our communication plans are, how we can support you in this process, even if you are not in cohort 5, what we can be doing to help you get started, and then who your contacts are going to be. So first, just a little bit about expectations. You've probably heard the words Quality Matters at this point. If you haven't, Quality Matters is a national set of standards. They have a rubric in place that now has a total of 46 standards, and you're expected to pass. A course will pass a review with a score of 86 out of 101 points. So what you're looking to do is meet those expectations. So we have provided a link here to that rubric so you can get an idea of what that looks like and what those expectations are. We will say that is geared towards online courses, and now it's moving into hybrid courses as well. So we know face-to-face courses, some of these standards are not going to really make a whole lot of sense for you. But here at GTC, what we're trying to do is get our online courses and our face-to-face courses to mirror them each other as much as they can, so that students that are taking a face-to-face course and then taking an online course will have very similar experiences where that can overlap. We understand the modalities are very different at the same time, but where we can make that experience easier for them is what we're trying to do.
And just to let you guys know, we've emailed this PowerPoint to Jackie so she can get it out to all of you guys, so you don't have to try to write down any of the things that are in here. You should be getting a copy of this PowerPoint from Jackie.
So what we're going to be looking at is the different courses within the programs that are coming out for the different cohorts. So right now we're looking at cohort 5, and I know within your school there are, I think, 3 or 4 programs that we're going to be looking at. So this is the expectations of kind of what will need to happen for the course to be ready for us to actually do the review. So first we're going to look at master course shells. We're going to identify what those are. If you haven't been using your master shells previously, that's encourage you to start using, especially if you're going through the review process, because we do not want to interfere with a live course that has student data in it, student information, because if we pop in and it says we're an instructor, sometimes we could possibly get an email from a student asking questions, and that's not the avenue you want those messages to go through. So we want to make sure that we're staying out of the student data side of things. So we want to use a master course shell. We want to make sure you have that Start Here module added into the course, and then have all that information filled in with the student. Just completing the Start Here module in the course meets 19 standards for Quality Matters. So that's something that it makes it easy for you to have the information available. It helps with students with navigating where to find resources, where to find policies and things like that. Then we want you to have learning modules set up and have an overview page created that's going to kind of highlight what your course objectives are, what the module level objectives are, as well as the task and assignments that would be completed for that. And we know a face-to-face course, you're probably not going to work in modules. You'll probably work by weeks or class times or however you divide up, if you divide it by chapters or topics. But you want to have that information so that we can review it. And we've got some example templates there. If you click on the link, you'll see some samples of those. And then the gradebook, making sure your gradebooks are set up in the online environment in Blackboard with the overall grade set up, and any assessments and activities that you can include in that as appropriate. We want to make sure that that's there when we do the review process. And as we move through this, any of these things that we're talking about, we're here to help you with that process and making sure that you understand how to do it, and then what is the way that we're encouraging you to use it. So let's talk a little bit about the process, what that's going to look like. So these are the basic overall 7 steps. Right now we're in this instructor prepares course review. That's where we've started. And with that, there's some preparations. We've got some slides and stuff that we talked through with the different departments about this already. So we know this is coming for you guys. Once you get the course ready and you've signed off on it, you send it to us to tell us it's ready for us to review the course. Then we start our review process, looking at the rubric, all the different standards, and we're looking through your course to check off to make sure those things are being met. We use what we call a review spreadsheet, and you can take a look at that link and look at that a little bit more. I'll show you a couple of examples of information we include in that in the next slide. But after we have completed the review, we'll send it back to you guys and let you know, here's some things that would improve your course and it might help your students out. Or here's things that we thought were really done well. And then we'll ask for any revisions and give you a deadline of when those revisions need to be back to us. We can schedule Zoom sessions to review that and determine any other help you may need in the process, or we can even schedule those Zoom sessions before we even begin the review process as well. Instructors you'll make the revisions as needed, and then you'll notify us so that we can do those additional reviews. Once the course has passed the internal review, we use this GTC QM rubric, and it just marks off that we have completed, that you've passed the internal review there. And that's just documentation for the future with the APR process. So this is some examples. When you pull up the spreadsheets, you'll see it'll have the standard, what the standard says, and then like for this first example with 8.1, this is talking about the course navigation facilitates ease of use. And in this particular one, it did not meet it. There are several links that were not working. So it says, see my notes under the chapters to see specific examples. So when we find something that's not working, we'll tell you, link was broken in module 3 related to this video. Whatever it is that we're exactly finding, that's where we're going to let you know. We're not just going to say, review the course for broken links, because that's a lot of work on your end. We've already identified them. We'll just notify you of that. Same thing with 2.1, that's looking at learning objectives and are they measurable? So we give you suggestions of ways to make those objectives measurable if they're not currently measurable. And then the last one is dealing with the descriptive criteria for evaluation of learners' works, looking at your grading policy, but also how you connect the grading policy and your individual assignments. So you can just see kind of how we make suggestions back when something is not met. And next, we're going to talk a little bit about communication. So I'm going to turn it over to Melissa.
That's good. So we're going to, the first step that we're going to do after this meeting, we'll be emailing the departments that are going through in cohort 5, asking you to tell us who's going to be working in those courses and that sort of thing. Then we're going to schedule a meeting with just those small groups of people. We can do face-to-face meetings. We can do Zoom. Some groups prefer either way. We were at Autobody yesterday and they asked us to come to them and show us their things. That's what we can do. We'll use the review spreadsheet. It'll go back and forth between us and the instructor that's working in the course as a mode of communication as we make notes and that sort of thing. And of course, that rubric that April was talking about will be the kind of final straw that will say, yes, you have met this for your APR. So we'll be using all of those together. And April and I and Michelle and I are here to walk you through this whole process. It's not a, here, you guys go do this, and then we take our hands off. It literally is, we'll be with you each step of the way. Once you know you're a contact person, feel free to, reach out to us. We're here to help. We're here to answer questions. We're here to, if we need to help copy stuff over, anything that we can do to help. It's going to be a working together kind of process. So we want to make sure that you guys know, different ways that we can contact you, or you can contact us rather. And then some support that we can offer. Our LibGuide is here. It has a lot of great things on accessibility, which is one of the standards for QM. We have a QM sample course that we'll be dropping you into, so you can see when we say the Start Here module, you can see an example, some examples of overview pages and that sort of thing is all in that sample course that we'll be putting you in, so you can kind of play around with that and just look to see what we're talking about. If you need help with learning objectives, aligning assessments with objectives, instructional materials, accessible content, any of that kind of thing, we're happy to help. Again, either in Zoom or in person, however we need to. The rubric training, it's a 2-week asynchronous course. If you're interested in taking that, please contact April. She can get you signed up for it.
Now it's available through PD for me.
And it is on PD for me. There are 2 courses coming up in October that April and I will be leading for that. So if you want to take that rubric training so that when we say the QM rubric, you have some idea of what we're talking about, that's available for you. If you've already taken the rubric training and it was the 6th edition, there is an update available. It's the 7th edition. It'll take you about 3 hours to complete that if you've already done the 6th edition.
And it's free now.
And it's free until January 5th. After January 5th, the college will have to pay for it. So who is your person? So these are the ones you guys need. So for cosmetology, a paralegal, your main point of contact will be Michelle. I'll be taking care of the EET group. Now that's not to say that you can't contact any of the 3 of us. We work closely together, but it's just kind of, we've divided up the cohort 5. So we've done it by, section or whatever. But if you reach out to me and I'm busy, please feel free to also reach out to Michelle or April if you can't get me. And same thing, if you can't get them, you can reach out to me. But this is kind of your main point of contact. So when we start emailing you and trying to set up a meeting, you'll know why we're emailing you and what we're talking about on that. And then April is in charge of health sciences.
So that wraps up just our presentation. So we want to answer any questions because we know this is a lot we threw at you pretty quickly. But this is just really, we just want you get you aware of what the process is going to look like. Those that are going through the cohort, obviously, this is going to hit you faster than others, but we want to prepare as many as we can since this is the first time that we've offered this or, been doing this here. So I just want to open it up for any questions that you guys may have.
I have a question.
Okay.
So, this may not apply to everyone, but I know it probably applies to some. Of course, as we transition to Ultra, we all kind of took that route in spring. And through that process, the program of paralegal has never really been very big on using masters. We didn't have any master shells. It was kind of created as some of these were created as part of the transition. They were all the K-16 transitions that were quite frankly just very messy. And long and short, we spent 3 semesters trying to make it work and keep refining them, right? So my question is, with this idea, we're going through the cohort. So will new master shells be created so that maybe we can take our fall shell that I think we're now feel like, okay, these are good, and transfer? Or do you want us to delete everything in sort of the old master shells that were created at some point over the past year? What would be the best way? And maybe that's just specific to us, but it may apply to other programs as well.
If you have what we've been telling other people, if you have like your spring 2023 course is exactly the way you want us to review it, you think it's in place, then copy that into the master. So delete what's already in the master and put what you want as your final product in that master, because that's where we're going to be reviewing.
Nancy, if we didn't see a master available for you, we created a master already.
Okay.
But if you had a master that we saw for Ultra, we didn't touch it. So in that sense, you could go ahead and delete the material in there for us to work in and for you to work in. Okay. Or we could do it for you. Either one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll confer with my faculty as well, but I'm guessing that, spring was like a trial run and then we kept modifying in the summer. And I feel like, at least in my classes, I feel more confident for this fall on, okay, this is more closely aligned to how we want it to be. So I feel more comfortable sharing
And
those.
you mentioned those K-16 masters. We're going to be going away, pulling them off the system. So
Yeah.
but some people are still using that as their master. So we'll be contacting you about that because we don't want it to disappear on you and not let you know about that. So we'll be working with you on that to get that removed off the system. Make sure you're not using them.
No, I think we're ready to start from scratch is what I'm trying to say.
We are too.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So when we meet with your group individually, we can talk about what your process, if you need us help copying that over or how you want to do that. But you all are the ones that's going to make the decision about, yes, the course is ready for us to start looking at it, or where do you need us to help you with that? So in the deadline, I don't think we mentioned this, is February 1st is when all of these courses for cohort 5 will need to be completed and ready for us to review. If they come in sooner, that's great, but we want to give you time to be able to fully embrace this and work through it and get things the way you wanted. Because like you said, it's been a process just getting your stuff moved to Ultra. So we want to make sure that we give you guys time to work through it.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions?
I could ask one about the nature of a master ultra shell.
Okay,
Right.
what's your question?
Are they supposed to have content in them?
Are they supposed to have content in them? Is that what you?
That's what I said. Yeah. I'm trying to fight with something in a CPT 234 class. Melissa's seen it. And it's not quite in my area. It's a class I'm teaching. It's something that transfer students take. But it is essentially empty shell. There's no real content in there. So.
But it's not part of your APR review.
No, but I was just thinking in terms of what a ultra master is supposed to look like in general. They all should be up to a certain standard, right? If they're a master.
It
So
depends.
I should mind. Go ahead.
Some departments have not used masters and have been copying from when that course was taught last semester. They just copy it over for the next section or the next semester. And then some are filling out that master completely and then copying that master. Our recommendation is to fill that master out completely. That way you can make changes during the semester if you need to, and then just have it copied over without interfering with your current students in the current course that you're working in. And then we will, when it's time for cohort, when your group comes up in the cohort, we will be reviewing the master. So we're not in student data. So we will need to have it at that point. But we know that's a transition because some places have not been using the masters before.
And Rama, you may want to reach out to that department head for that CPT course.
That's so ironic. Today was his exit interview day.
Oh.
We'll take a look at that with you when we meet with you guys for that cohort and see if we can help you get that part fixed too.
It's not part of my academic program
Yeah.
review. It's just a difficulty I'm having trying to teach a class right now. So
Okay.
it's probably another offline thing.
Anything else? So Rama and Mike, you'll be getting an email from me just as soon as we log off this meeting about kind of some next steps since I have you for EET. And Debbie and Nancy, you'll be hearing from Michelle as she's your point of contact after we finish up this meeting. So you'll kind of know what your next steps are. And as always, just let us know if we can help you in any way. We're here to help and support.
Even if you're not in this cohort, we want to get people started enrolling with us. So it's not, we got a shorter group. This group is kind of the guinea pigs, a shorter timeline to get it turned around. So we wanted to get people prepared ahead of time as we move into the next cohort and starting in February.
Jackie, that's all we have. I didn't know if you needed to speak to your group as well.
Is Jackie there?
She had a class that started at 2, so she may have muted us.
Okay.
You may have, yeah, that's true.
So if there's nothing else, since Jackie's not with us anymore, we're finished unless you guys have any other questions.
Oh, looking forward
Definitely
to the
reach out.
email.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you.
Thanks. Have a good afternoon, everyone.
You too.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye.